I'm moving on is because I see that I've got quite a few people that are wanting to join us. And the next person to join us is someone that has been on the show before. I think is probably someone that most people are familiar with, and because he's changed his name, I can't find him on the list. Let me just have another look. Oh yes.
Actually, whilst you're getting to the chat, yeah, we now have evidence that there are reptilians in government concordance. Your persistent shape-shifting. You know, if we've seen it here, it's only logical that it happens in government as well.
No, I'm the only one.
Gary, it's always a pleasure.
You can trust me entirely.
Getting on.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you very well. I'm always somewhat frightened by what you're going to discuss.
I'm going to be mostly
some sort of shop with us, and then
I think you look very busy.
After you've been on the show, you always go off and make a video about us and saying how terribly you were treated on the show. So, what have you got for us today?
Yeah, well, that's the game of argument, right? You know, it's always from everybody's perspective. But yeah, this, you know, it's kind of a serious issue. A YouTuber, a YouTube atheist, he was also an antinatalist, but a British citizen, was arrested in Indonesia in February for 2 marijuana joints and a little bit of dust. Okay, less than a gram of dust of marijuana. He's been in jail for almost 90 days now, with we have no contact with him. We're trying through the embassy, all the rest of this stuff. But he's facing 4 to 12 years in Indonesian prison for possession of 2 marijuana joints. I think it's discriminatory prosecution. I think it's discriminatory enforcement of the law. I've never heard of somebody for facing Indonesian prison for possession of marijuana. Okay, trafficking, yes. Possession, I don't know of any cases of British or American citizens being incarcerated in some of the worst prisons in the world.
I'll give you an example that occurred only this week. There were 3 British people, and it'll take me a moment to remember the country. It wasn't Saudi. It was close to Saudi, and they were caught in possession. They went there on holiday. They were caught in possession, apparently, allegedly, of marijuana, and they have, I think, got 12 years in prison. So it's not unheard of. There's also someone in Thailand who she was convicted of actually trafficking, who's now facing the death penalty in Thailand.
Well, like I said, I think we all know.
What I'm saying, it's not unique, Gary.
Well, I'm just saying I think it might be a new trend. I'm just saying that my traditional understanding was that there was traffickers that faced this horror, okay, and that it wasn't necessarily just possessors. And so I'm just saying that these laws are incredibly draconian, and you know, I'm and other people are trying to fight a battle to stop this, and so I'm going more aggressive. There's some people who want to just, you know, try to do everything they can to get this individual person out. I want to get this individual out, but what I really want to do is say, no, we can't negotiate with these terrorists. This is a kind of terrorism, in my opinion. His life is ruined. The lives of all the people who care about him are totally disrupted. We're going to be financially and emotionally destroyed for the future, realizing that a friend of ours is sitting in this hellhole. I don't think we should have diplomatic relations with countries that do this for people for crimes that aren't even crimes. This isn't a crime against a human being. This is
a. Do you know what he was doing in Indonesia?
Yeah, he works he's an English teacher, and he works abroad. So he's worked in Saudi Arabia. He's worked in all these other countries before, and he's apparently navigated these countries successfully. And maybe he was feeling a little arrogant, a little bit confident, and he didn't realize that he was going to get himself in awful big trouble.
Yeah, if I remember rightly, all of the countries in that neck of the woods are very severe punishments for drug-related offences. In fact, if I remember rightly, someone was telling me one of these, I think it was Thailand, might have been Indonesia as one of these, and when you're coming into land, there's the polite little announcement of, we hope you've enjoyed the flight. The luggage will be picked up at carousel number 3, and there is a mandatory death sentence for drug trafficking in this country. Yeah, I mean, so it really is. I don't know why, but it's way up there in terms of what they regard as.
If I may, this is what I wanted to move on to with Gary, if I may, Gary. I mean, obviously, I suspect you're someone that doesn't believe that marijuana should be, or possession should be a criminal offence. But just in more general terms, do you think that a country has a right to impose whatever laws it sees fit in that particular country, whether you agree with them or not?
No, I mean, I don't think you could have a law that says it's okay to beat women or something. I think it would be rational for a civilized country to say we're not going to have relations with a country that says eats its children or does, imprisons children for, stealing candy and cuts their arms off or something. I mean, there's video in some of these countries of, Iranians or something like running over a child's arm because it got caught shoplifting. We shouldn't have diplomatic relations with uncivilized countries. We shouldn't do business with them. We shouldn't agree to shake their hand and have supper with them. We just shouldn't be exposed to this at all. This is like entrapment, right? I mean, we could all be guilty of making foolish mistakes, right? We all get drunk. We all do stupid shit. All right, so this could be me.
I don't think you can say it's entrapment. I mean, it's not entrapment if he actually was in possession.
But what I'm saying is it's entrapment in the sense that obviously the marijuana joints didn't cost $5 million. So obviously there's plenty of drugs in Indonesia. So people do use it socially. Okay, it is an accessible drug in Indonesia. So what I'm saying is if you have a law, like say I make a jaywalking law, and I only kill 1 in a million jaywalkers, but I have a death sentence for jaywalking. Obviously, everybody's going to be sucked in by, oh, they never enforced the law, it's okay to jaywalk, I'm going to be lucky. Everybody's going to think they're lucky. When everybody speeds, speeding is wrong, it's jeopardizing your life, but you still do it because you think, I'm going to get away with it. It's human nature.
Just out of interest, would you draw the line with just marijuana, or would you include other drugs like LSD and cocaine in there?
For possession, I would draw the line for possession of all these drugs that American citizens, civilized human beings, do not go to dungeons for possession or use of these drugs. For trafficking is another issue because you are exploiting people, you're taking money.
Would you not want political relations with a country that, say, has criminalized the ownership of cocaine?
Criminalize the possession of cocaine? Yeah. Or trafficking? Again, I'm saying that you can hold a foreign national when they've done a real crime against your country. What I'm saying is somebody smoking 2 joints in their house, okay, is not a crime sufficient for you to persecute a civilized human being from a civilized country. You have to give them back to the country, okay, and let that country deal with that. Because that's not it's not enough of a crime. I don't want to have to. This frustrates me no end.
I disagree with you. If you commit a crime in a country, it becomes that is the society, if you like, that you've transgressed. I don't think that you then hand people back to another country to have their punishment.
Well, I think for vice crime, I think that is totally appropriate. I don't think vice crime should be international, and especially when it's religiously based. I mean, this is an Islamic, not dictatorship, but an Islamic democracy. They've chosen to be this way, and they're applying religious law to people. And I'm saying, and I'm going to make the argument, look, they don't have 4 million people in jail. Obviously, they don't enforce this law very often, or they'd have more people in jail than we do. They have a population of 250 million people, okay, and they don't have anywhere near the number of people we have in jail. So what I'm saying is there's all kinds of opportunity for this law to be abused, for them to persecute people with this law by their choice. And what I'm saying is the fact that this guy is an outspoken atheist, the fact that he was an outspoken anti-religious, anti-natalist, might have something to do, and the fact that he doesn't work for Nike, he doesn't work for a big corporation, so he's not going to be protected by Nike, this might have everything to do with why this individual was chosen for this prosecution.
It may do, but I don't think we can say for certain that it did. But just, again, going back to a more general point, one of the things that you referred to was the conditions in which he was being incarcerated. I presume that you accept there are occasions when people should be incarcerated. Is it and I know that it's not quite on topic,
well,
You're happy with incarceration provided they're treated with dignity?
Well, I think that's a first case rule. That's the reason right there not to have diplomatic relations with a country, right? These prisoners in this country are treated worse than the worst prisoner of war camps. Okay.
Guantanamo Bay.
I mean, yes, I'd say it's equal to that. They are not given. They're not given clean water. They're not given utensils to eat with. They have to eat with their hands. They're in cells with up to 25 people in them.
Should any country have diplomatic relations with the United States when it still has Guantanamo Bay open, where it can talk just?
Not only.
I'm not going to defend wrong with wrong. Okay, the fact that the United States government has been an asshole and bailed out of the Geneva Conventions and played this game of creating non-citizens, I think is equally wrong. I think we should be bombed for it or droned for it. All right, whatever penalty you want to impose on us for it, I think it's absolutely wrong. And I think a country who's civilized should say we won't have diplomatic relations with you if you're going to treat people like that. But I'll also make the argument to you that I'm quite confident that everybody we have in prison is treated well, and in most cases they belong there. Okay, this guy is in a dungeon, the worst prisons in the world, for 2 marijuana joints. I'm saying that's not acceptable. There's no way you can contrive this person into enough of a criminal.
Gary, at least he was charged and convicted by a court process.
Well, he hasn't been convicted yet, and he hasn't been properly
charged. I'm going to go to concordance next, though, Gary, and then we'll come back to you. Concordance.
So, Gary, strictly pragmatic. If you really do want to affect a change, and I think this is something you could absolutely do here, but it's not going to be on the international level, is I think your friend, looking back, would almost certainly not have ever gone to Indonesia knowing that this is the kind of treatment that they give to people. Maybe it is a matter of spreading the word to people who are English tutors. I mean, raise awareness, absolutely, and have it be a voluntary thing. Look, we're not coming to Indonesia. You know, we're not going to teach your people English, and that's going to put you at a disadvantage in the world. That's how change happens. I don't see any reason why.
Well, I think you have to have. I think you have to apply a whip or a carrot to change behavior, and Indonesia will not change its behavior unless we reward them for changing it or we punish them for not changing it. So I'm just saying that
that's exactly what Concordance is saying here, is apply a financial pressure by actually suggesting that people don't go to Indonesia.
Well, I know, but that's like suggesting people don't go to Walmart. Okay, it's a cheap vacation destination. They think they're going to be safe. That's what I'm saying, that this is sort of entrapment. This is sort of a circumstance where you lull people into a certain sense of they're in control, and they're not in control. And in any minute, they're going to be completely out of control, and they're going to be as bewildered as anybody, saying, why did I not realize this? Everybody told me these people were crazy, and now I find out they really are.
I think you can understand this, though, Gary. Just, again, strictly pragmatically. You will be tilting at windmills if you try to go the State Department route. I think directly going to people who are planning on taking jobs in Indonesia, it would not be hard to find these people.
Well, I'm going to go, for me personally, no, I don't understand it, okay? I don't understand doing nothing. So me personally, I'm not voting for any candidate ever again who doesn't want to take this civilization thing seriously and say, yes, we're going to use our power. We're the biggest guy on the block. We can reform these countries. We don't have to accept the way they are. We don't have to accept being judged by religious lunatics. Okay, and I don't think we should be doing business with them. I don't think we should reward them for this insidious and insane behavior.
Gary, didn't you just say that America deserved to be bombed with drone strikes to improve it or something?
Yes, I just did. That's right, exactly. We should be taught a lesson. We should have learned from 9/11 that violence doesn't work, that we should find better solutions. And instead, like retards, we went on a revenge war. We went on a revenge war. Yeah, well, I'm saying that the only way you're going to... you can't change behavior without a carrot or a stick. I'm not going to say that 7,000 times. I'm just going to say that's the logic here. You either reward Indonesia for being more civilized, or you punish them for being uncivilized. But if you do nothing, nothing changes, and I think that is disgusting. I think just thinking about this man in this horrible prison, like I said, if you knew this individual, Derived Energy was his YouTube screen name. He's the most decent of decent human beings, and he's in the worst, absolute worst place you can be in, and being probably treated horribly, and I find that unacceptable.
What I'm saying is people can control their own behavior, and one of those things is that they cannot go to Indonesia.
Right. So people don't make mistakes. So again, people don't make mistakes.
You know what, Gary? You're not going to be happy unless you are in a position where you can be angry and wrong. It's like the only thing that makes you happy in the world.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever. Right. So that civilizes the world. Give it to the Islamics. Give the world to Islam. You're just saying to me, no, Islam is right. Give Islam, let's endorse their laws and endorse their behavior and say it's all okay, and we as the most powerful, most civilized nation on earth, or at least pretending to be, we'll say it's okay.
We'll tell them what to do, what laws they have that we allow.
We will encourage them to become civilized. We will encourage them not to burn witches. They're burning witches. They're not doing anything other than burning witches, and I think we should tell them burning witches is stupid. Okay? Your God doesn't want you to do this. Mohammed would not want you. What would Mohammed say? Mohammed wouldn't say, torture them, torture him, torture him. Mohammed wouldn't say that.
Gary, we've gone a little bit off topic.
Actually, can I just put a...
Witches. Let's keep...
Let me just put a point in here. It would maybe make more sense if you cleaned your own backyard before worrying about other people. That is, it would make more sense if you actually worry about the plank in your own eye before the splinter in your neighbour's. And in many ways, the Supermax prisons are probably one of the most insidious punishments that there is around, where for 23 hours a day you're basically locked in some concrete shoebox. I mean, does this not actually strike you as a problem closer to home, that you would have a better chance?
Again, it strikes me as a problem,
to address,
but there's nobody in those prisons.
Problems in somebody else's.
There's not too many decent men in an American prison. I'll make that argument in the defense of the American prison system, is there aren't too many decent human beings in our prisons. You usually go to prison when you've done crime more than once, and you've done a crime that basically does brutalize some human. You've gun warred for your drug lording, for your other bullshit abuses of some civilians' rights. I'm saying that a guy smoking 2 joints in his fucking own house in another country shouldn't be in a dungeon.
Yes, but my point, going back to where I started from, and this is why I did raise this point, I asked you whether you thought it was appropriate or acceptable for a country, a state, to make its own laws, whether you disagree with them or agree with them or not. And I thought you agreed with that. Now,
no, I didn't agree with that. I said I don't think they should be able to kill their kids or beat their wives, and I don't think they should be able to put people in dungeons for smoking marijuana. I don't think they should be allowed to do that.
Using that term, and this is why, again, I asked you the next question, which I did, which is whether you think that incarceration is acceptable if the conditions in which they are held are not draconian.
Well, not for this crime. Not for this crime. No, I'm not for the drug war period, but I'm certainly not for it based on some sort of religious notion that Mohammed says so. Okay, then I'm really against any drug war.
Mohammed, that's saying so. It's a law.
It is in Indonesia. It is in Indonesia. I'm afraid not. I'm afraid they consider it offense against God. Okay, that's what they consider it.
Yes. All right, Gary. I know that you'll make a video saying that you were treated incredibly badly. I'll give you the...
No, I was treated fine. I just think all of your opinions were disgusting. I think you're disgusting human beings, okay? I think you're debaucherous, disgusting bastards for justifying and defending a man being in goddamn dungeon prison for smoking a joint. I think you're disgusting human beings. Disgusting human beings.
Okay, you don't need to make a video, Gary.
Revolting, disgusting, putrid, disgusting, horrid.